Hey everybody, this is Fox from Inferno Fox Gaming, and joining me today is a very special guest. It is my father D, and we're doing a special Father's Day type episode here at Inferno Fox Gaming, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things regarding video games, both memories that we've got as well as video game and movie soundtracks, because we have a lot of parallel interaction in regards to that, especially the soundtrack piece. One quick FYI, and this is fun. We grew up calling my my father here D, and that actually came from Daddy or D Da, and so it just became a whole thing where we just call him D. So, and while this is a primarily video games related channel, briefly let the audience know some of your favorite hobbies and whatnot.
Well, my number one favorite hobby is ham radio, of which you surprised me with your license last year on my birthday. Along with ham radio, I also enjoy going to car shows. I have various collections of things like die-cast model cars, and one of my favorite pastimes are collecting and listening to movie, television, and video soundtracks.
Very
Not
nice.
not songs, but the scores and the underscores. And being with family. So I was really pleased when Glenn mentioned this to me and thought it'd be kind of fun.
Very cool. Yeah, and one of the funny things, so you had mentioned with the soundtracks and everything, and we grew up playing video games, as you remember. Like I think my earliest memories are of the ColecoVision. One of the things that I was curious with is whether or not you actually played any of the video games, because I think I only remember you doing Bejeweled on like your old PDA that you had.
That's about it. I never played any other video games, but I love the music.
Yeah, and the music itself is really like just iconic. If I mention some of the video game memories, if I mention something called Hot Summer, what would you describe Hot Summer as?
You and your brothers playing the video games, and me sitting, watching, and listening to the games while you're playing them. And I enjoyed the graphics and different kind of stuff, but I had no interest in actually participating other than being there and listening and watching and being a father figure.
For our viewers and everything, make sure you let us know in the comments section below if you kind of have that same experience where when you played as kids, were your parents there? Did they always used to watch? Or similarly, are you guys parents now? Are you old like me? You're that age where you grew up playing games, and do you play the games with your kids? Again, let us know in the comments section below. We'd love to start a conversation with you. Regarding some other video game memories, is there any other favorite memories that you might have related to video games?
It depends. As the collection grew, as your mother and I and relatives bought game cartridges and you guys played them, and it seemed like the ones that you really liked, I really enjoyed the music.
Like I said, I don't have a lot of like big memory with the ColecoVision. The earliest memory that I have with it was when I was 1 or 2, with games like Venture and Antarctic Adventure and whatnot. I think before we started recording, you showed me a list that also had other games. There was a Donkey Kong port and Dig Dug and everything like that. But I really remember the NES, and my uncle Benny, our uncle Benny, got us the NES back in May of 1987 for his birthday. We had Super Mario Brothers and Zelda, and I just remember that hot summer playing those games and Castlevania and Metroid and whatnot.
Yep.
So
Definitely bring back a lot of very fond memories.
absolutely. One of some of the memories that I've got that involve you, D. I don't know if you remember a lot. Is I've mentioned this time and time again on the Inferno Cast, how when you guys got us the Super Nintendo for Christmas in, I think, 1991, I was the first one that beat Super Mario World, and you were there, and I remember I had you there as like a witness, so that when my older brothers would wake up, you could say, "Yeah, he beat it. He beat it before you guys." I also remember in another kind of like odd one where I think it was like 4 or 5 years later, we were shopping at Target. I didn't like bug you for games too much whenever we were out shopping, but I remember there was this sleek new Game Boy Pocket. It was like a silver chrome thing, and it was a really nice where it had like a clear picture and everything like that. And I remember I mentioned to you, oh, I want to get that sometime. And I think it was like August or something, and I was taken aback when you said, "Oh, I can get that for you," and you actually bought me a brand new Game Boy system along with like I think a Super Nintendo game, Kirby Superstar. It was one of those like it wasn't my birthday, it wasn't a Christmas thing, but it was just a thing that was just really cool to be able to get those fun treats out of holiday.
I vaguely remember that particular event, but I know how happy you were and how happy it made you, and you were very happy to have that in your collection and then getting games and so forth.
Kind of talking about like the specifics of the games, and as we've been talking here for you guys who've been listening, we've been having some of the classic NES music going on in the background, and and feel free to refer to your list with the NES games. Any
Sure.
other if you can think of any of the NES games that you particularly remember.
Before we get into that, who dressed up for Halloween as Link?
So the funny thing is that was my older brother, not my oldest brother, my older brother in second grade, and then I used the same exact costume, but for fourth grade Halloween.
Well, let's go here briefly, or maybe not so briefly, to the NES games that I remember. Of course, Blaster Master.
The music on that.
Music was favorite. Bubble Bobble. Burger Time.
And I remember playing Bubble Bobble and Burger Time on the Commodore 64 that you had.
That's right. They were also on the Commodore 64, which we had a pretty nice outfit. Back to the NES games. And NES is Nintendo Entertainment System, correct?
Yep.
That was the original one that you got for you guys for Uncle Benny's birthday, but he bought it. Castlevania, let's not forget that.
Yeah, that has some of the best music, hands down. One of the things with Castlevania, I've got a video here on Inferno Fox Gaming Top 10 NES Soundtracks, and that was number 2, the Castlevania series.
I could believe it. A stupid game that I remember, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. City Connection, I forgot what that was about, but I can remember the music.
Yeah, because it was like where you're the car and you're driving around, you're trying to paint the roads and everything like that.
Okay. Commando, I don't think it was involving Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And I think, come to think of it, when we were talking before, but when I saw Commando, maybe we were thinking Bionic Commando, because that had some iconic music.
Donkey Kong, of course. What was Duck Hunt? Why do I remember that one?
So when we got the NES, we actually had the double pack cartridge where it was both Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. And Duck Hunt was the light gun game where you would shoot at the screen and it would read whether or not you hit the ducks. And if you didn't hit the ducks, that annoying dog would laugh at you.
Oh, okay. Final Fantasy.
Yes. D knows that is my favorite series of all time, and I've been playing that since we first got it. We first got it when it came out in America in 1990.
Gyrus. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's enough of my singing. Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about why do I remember Kid Icarus?
So Kid Icarus, this was definitely another hot summer game where it of course is starting the Hero Pit, and it's got the iconic music where it goes.
Remember that well? Okay. Mega Man.
Yeah.
Mega Man 2.
In the Mega Man series were topped the best soundtracks for the original NES.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Metal Gear, and was there also a Metal Gear Solid or something like that?
So there was Metal Gear 2 Snake's Revenge. Metal Gear Solid actually didn't come out until the PlayStation 1 in like 1995, I think.
Okay. And then I have a big red star next to Metroid.
Yes. This Metroid, fantastic music, gameplay, and everything.
And I think that's your ringtone on my Apple 14 Pro Max. I think it's one of those. Cubert.
Oh yeah, Cubert.
Remember him? He had kind of a big, like an elephant nose almost, a short trunk.
And then if he got hurt, he would swear because it shows all of the characters and everything like that.
Was it for ages 14 and older, or
no? It just like shows a little @ sign, an ampersand, exclamation point.
Okay. Snake Rattle and Roll.
Oh, that had awesome music. I really enjoy playing that too. It's kind of that isometric type view. A lot of fun.
We've got Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2. I remember them well.
Yeah, and then we also had Super Mario Brothers 3, and it was a thing where Super Mario Brothers 2, we played that endlessly. 3 as well, and it's like finding the warp whistles and everything.
And I did find in the list here, which I failed to highlight, Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt.
Yep.
And then there's a Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt World Class Track Meet. Did we have that?
We rented the track meet, but we didn't have the combo pack, the one that had all 3 of them.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, I definitely remember the old classic NES style. The music was great in that too.
Tetris and Tetris 2.
Yep.
Yoshi.
Yeah, it was another good one. It's a shame though. One of the things my partner Jamie Owls, it's a shame she doesn't like Yoshi or anything like that. And fans can't see. She's in the room with us, and I got an obscene look from her, and she reacted to that.
And then to finalize the NES, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link.
And of course, that was where the costume that you mentioned was based on. So we've got a lot of really good memories based off of the classic NES, and a lot of things with like the Colecovision. You'll probably see like there's a lot of doubles with that.
Pepper 2, very catchy theme. I really enjoyed that. Zaxxon, Zaxxon, didn't really have music, just had a bunch of acceleration noises. Mr. Do, like that one a lot. One of my all-time favorites, Venture.
Oh, yep.
And who used to cry when his character got killed off?
Wasn't that Kevin or my?
No, it was Kevin. He used to cry, and the monsters would come out from the walls.
If you didn't hurry and get the treasure.
Antarctic Adventure with the penguin.
Yep, that one I definitely remember.
Another favorite music was Looping. It started out and then it got faster and faster and higher. I know we didn't have Sewer Sam.
No relation to Sewer Shark.
No. Tapper.
Yeah.
That was another fun game with really good music.
The funny thing is, I actually have Tapper on my Mortal Kombat 2 arcade unit in the game room.
Really?
It comes with that in one of the the 14 games.
Wow.
I think that's it.
Yeah. That's it for the ColecoVision games list. And as I recall, when we upgraded and you weren't playing Coleco anymore, we gave the games to my cousin, Denise. Maybe she's watching this. And she had a Coleco. There were like 2 different versions of the ColecoVision, weren't there?
I think so.
And our original one died, and a friend of mine who was a fireman gave me his. And that one I think we played to the end. And whatever happened to it, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I remember what happened to our old NES and SNES. Kevin sold them. One of the other memories that I remember with you with the video games is when, like, after I graduated high school, I started working at our local computer store called Micro Center, and I ended up getting like a lot of friends there, and they used to come over, play the like GameCube, like Super Smash Brothers, in the living room, because you were really cool about having that, like the mainline system in the living room, And it was just nice to where, like, okay, you would be in the same room in your ham radio desk while we would be just doing games and everything like that. It was just kind of a cool thing where, like, as a young adult, we're still like hanging out in a way. So
Sure.
just kind of like a nice, positive memory where they were always respectful and nice. They
Oh,
weren't.
they all, I don't remember anybody being mean or nasty or smart alecky and you guys weren't into drugs and alcohol and stuff. And, our house was always a respite for your friends to come over and be comfortable and enjoy themselves. Just the idea of kids coming over, playing video games, enjoying themselves.
Yeah, definitely. And the funny thing is, the other side, the other half of the Inferno Cast, compose of those friends. So it's a thing where, again, for audience, if you like having a bunch of really good family and friend discussions about miscellaneous video games, make sure that you check that out, because not only is that here on Inferno Fox Gaming, but that's also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. As we move along here, one of the cool things with, of course, the soundtracks to the video games is how much like I've gotten into it. And while I grew up playing video games and sort of getting attached to the music, I also grew up to D here listening to a lot of the movie soundtracks, where like it sort of started off listening to direct albums and soundtracks to movies like Beverly Hills Cop, and then it became to the actual scores to the movies themselves in like the 90s and beyond. And it includes well-known movies such as Crimson Tide, Broken Arrow, The Rock, and more. So I mentioned those movie titles, and who is the composer to that?
Hans Zimmer.
That's right.
And what did you give me for a present for marrying you and your partner?
That would be a very special live conducted by Hans Zimmer, an actual live concert.
It was a fantastic musical and laser show display. I was sitting on the edge of my seat with tears rolling down my eyes. I was so excited just to be there. And what's going to happen in a couple of months?
Yeah, Hans Zimmer is coming back to town, and once again, we're going to be taking you to see him live.
I can't wait. I literally can't wait.
And it's that sort of passion that you hear in Dee's voice that I share that as well with the video game music. I do like both the original soundtracks for my favorite games as well as the many the game remixes and everything like that. We sort of shared some memories about some of the music that you enjoy, the video game music that you enjoyed listening to as we played like Castlevania and Metroid and everything like that. And I want to touch back on the live music performance because they have that as well for stuff like Sonic the Hedgehog, Legend of Zelda, and everything. But they also have that with the Final Fantasy series. And my partner Jamie Owls and I have gone to see the Chicago Symphony Orchestra perform a lot of these sort of soundtracks and songs and everything like that. And as you described the emotions, I remember Jamie Owls having tears in her eyes as they played music from Final Fantasy VIII, which is her favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack and favorite Final Fantasy overall. And it was really sort of that same thing for me as well, where like my favorite Final Fantasy is the sixth one. That's the third one in the US. It really resonated with me to hear the soundtrack live, to where some of my favorite character themes, where my favorite character from the third one is Locke, where his main theme gets played in sort of like a medley of sorts, where they have some of the character themes. Regarding some of Hans Zimmer's themes, do you remember some of the movie themes that he had played on a live concert?
He played a couple of tracks from Inception. Every one of them I thoroughly enjoyed. And what's really kind of odd, now he's got 2 or 3 Academy Awards, actual awards. He's had numerous nominations. And the first Academy Award he got was for The Lion King. And I don't particularly care to listen to that soundtrack, but because it was Hans Zimmer. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up is he has quite a few collaborators, and those are people that work with him, either listed as composers for these movies, or they were their own self doing their soundtracks, and then they began a collaboration with Hans Zimmer, such as James Newton Howard, Klaus Badelt, the gentleman that did uh, Bad Boys, and there was also a few other ones where they had a collaboration and then they were no longer collaborating with Hans Zimmer, but the same style, pounding bass, just tantalizing rhythm. Whereas if you go to his Driving Miss Daisy, it's very, very light, but it's very enjoyable. Or Thelma and Louise, you know, they're chick flicks, okay, but still the music is great. And one of the better ones was Rain Man, and I believe he was nominated for an Academy Award for that. So Hans Zimmer not only is my current favorite composer, but originally it was Jerry Goldsmith, who did hundreds of soundtracks, and he passed away in 2004, and when he died, I lost it.
These composers and everything mean so much to us, and I can understand that sort of parallel. Jamie Owls will tell you when at a Distant Worlds Final Fantasy concert, when we actually got to meet the composer who did the Final Fantasy music. His name's Nobuo Uematsu, and Jamie Owls will say that I was so excited, but like had tears in my eyes afterwards, knowing that I had met him.
So she was awestruck.
I was awestruck.
You were, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I was absolutely awestruck to know that this individual who had composed the first 9 of my favorite video game series of all time, who I just had seen on stage with the conductor, Arnie Roth, who's an excellent conductor.
Sure.
But that had such a presence in my life as both as a child and as a teenager with these games. Like, the music means a lot to us.
Sure.
One of the things that I want to ask is, do you find yourself enjoying the contents of the movies themselves as much as you like the respective soundtracks? Does it help you enjoy it more, or does it not matter?
Well, a lot of the soundtracks that I collected for movies I had listened to and enjoyed, and when I finally saw the movie, it made me enjoy the soundtracks even more.
I'm of the same boat. If I know a certain composer or artist has done certain games and whatnot, it's like, okay, I might listen to it, but it's really playing the game that it really helps to sort of attach that music to the experience. Because with the video game itself, it's not just watching the experience and attaching yourself to what you're seeing and everything. Like it's that whole immersiveness that sort of drives the overall experience, and the music becomes a vehicle to that as well. Not to say that there's not immersion in TV shows and movies, because there sure as heck is. I mean, if you see any sort of reaction videos to some of the MCU movies, like the Avengers Endgame, some of the most immersive moments are seeing audience reactions to some of the biggest scenes there. But with the level of immersion that I personally have gotten with video games, listening to some of the soundtrack music sometimes brings me back to the emotion that I felt, to where it's like, okay, if a major character has died and there's a theme playing, hearing that again at like a Final Fantasy Distant Worlds concert brings me back to that, and I feel that feeling. Or if it's a positive theme, where it's a really good example of it is the Super Mario Brothers movie, where that was composed by, is it Brian Tyler?
Mm-hmm.
He composed the super at the very end, where the Mario Brothers get the star man, and it kind of brings back us, the viewers who played the games, when you get the star, you're invincible, and it's like that sort of feeling. And sure enough, the Mario Brothers take the main villain Bowser to task. So it's kind of that cool level of immersion, as it
But
were.
the other thing I wanted to mention was I'm a pretty active Facebook participant. I moderate several forums, and I have over 100 composers, orchestrators, orchestra members, and different people that are my friends on Facebook. And I remember several years ago, a particular composer sent me an instant message over Messenger and said, "Were you the D that was at my party last night and the barbecue?" I said, "Boy, I sure wish that I was." And occasionally he's had some comments for me.
As we conclude things here, hopefully you all in the audience have enjoyed listening to our general discussion about like video games and movie soundtracks and everything like that. Again, let us know in the comments section below your favorite video game soundtracks, movie soundtracks, who your favorite movie composers and everything like that is. We'd like to start a conversation with you. And as we exit and say goodbye, just want to see, Dee, if there's any projects or anything that you wanted to let us know about, if in case people wanted to get to know you better.
Well, if you're interested in ham radio, which you have to take a test to get your license, the only correlation between ham radio and CB radio is they both have microphones. They're attached to radios with antennas. Ham radio, you have to know technology, you have to know rules and regulations. And I, about 5 years ago, was able to attain my amateur extra license. I am part of an examination, actually 7 examination teams.
Oh, wow.
And I travel around northern Illinois. I go as far south as Gardner, Illinois. And if you're interested, or if you are a ham radio, leave a comment with your call letters. At some point in time, I'll mention what my call letters are. And it's a wonderful, enjoyable hobby. I've done many, many things with it, not only public service, but also with instruction and, again, here mostly testing.
Excellent.
So,
And we'll make sure to include links in the description below to sites where you can actually register or test at a local, is it VE?
VE session.
At a local VE session to be able to get that done. And that, of course, we're going to include links for like the ARRL in the description because we are located in the United States. If you're out of the U.S., maybe check with your local countries examination or ham radio and everything. The great thing about the technology is that it can reach across the globe based on as rudimentary as atmospheric conditions to as advanced technologically wise as like your internet proxies and everything like that.
Right.
It's really a handy sort of technology to be a part of, and even when everything else goes down and is unavailable, ham is up. Ham radios
That's correct.
Are running. So again, Dee, just wanted to thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
And again, thank you to the audience for joining as well. And we hope you have a good day.